Hey, da da, okay. Get out. Get out of here with that garbage. Come on, Buzz. You know I love you, man. I'm a Busta Rhymes fan. Okay? I've bought Busta Rhymes music, so oh my goodness. Where do I start with this? I got notes, okay? So y'all want me to listen to these whack releases, and you wonder why I don't talk about new rap as much. Especially these days. You got world wars impending and stuff like that, and Busta Rhymes is fucking it up with these garbage ass releases. Okay, so Blockbuster, TRASHBUSTA, right? You know, I knew this would be bad. I would have to say, and I've been listening to rap for a long time, so certain things just right away I go, this is a bad sign, right? Number one, the track listing. As soon as I saw that track listing with all those mediocre names, the Kodaks and the Baby and all that shit, and then randoms that I never heard of, I was like, oh, this is gonna be bad. Busta's just gonna phone it in, bring a bunch of random people that he thinks are kind of hot, but like he can afford, if that makes sense, or he can get an easy favor from. It's not like he's getting Drizzy, right? Can't afford Drizzy, respectfully. You know what I'm saying? Drizzy's not gonna just show up for a whack Busta album, right? But he can get Kodak or whoever. Their Baby niggas is, you know, they're not really relevant, but they need something, and a legend cosign is always nice, that kind of thing. So that's always a bad sign. Number one. Number two is the randoms, right? If I've never heard of you and you featured, then I'm like, okay, these are Busta Rhymes, you know, friends or whatever, who are probably trash, respectfully. So that's the first sign I saw. The second sign was it was supposed to be executive produced by Timbaland, Swizz, and Pharrell. Obviously, this is what kind of gave it attention. Why people went, oh, okay. Now, when I noticed it was exec produced and not actually produced, that's where I had a kind of a thing. Where I was like, okay, exec produced means you're just slapping their name on it and you're using their name for press, essentially. But in essence, this is going to be other people making lazy beats, probably. And, you know, then Timbaland and Pharrell will just sort of put their names and say, yeah, we kind of oversaw this or whatever. So I knew the laziness was coming. I figured that Pharrell and Timbaland and Swizz would do like maybe one or two beats, which is exactly what happened. They only did a couple, one beat here and there, and the rest were produced by randoms that I don't care about. But funny enough, I think the randoms to a certain extent even had maybe slightly better beats. That's how these things go. Anyway, so the main question I have when I see an album like this, I'm like, who is this for? You know, because you could tell it was Busta Rhymes going into club mode or whatever, which he's been stuck in honestly for quite a while and I don't really like. But I was like, who's gonna enjoy these records? Because at the end of the day, they're too dated stylistically for the new generation. The new generation is on that sexy red ski. So if you're not doing that, I mean, who's this for? You're gonna just turn off the new kids don't care about you anyway, right? So that's number one. And then the people that do care about you, the ones that pay for your concert tickets, that want to see you constantly, are people like me, right? You're the old heads, quote unquote. And so you're alienating us by, rhyming on beats that are too old and too stale to be new, but too new for us to even really enjoy, if that makes sense. It's like it's a dated sound of a fad, essentially, right? I mean, there's literally beats on here that sound like they were stuck in 2017, and I'll get into that. So let's go beat for beat. The statement. This was sleepy. Busta was kind of rapping, but overall, meh. Number two, Ramondo. You know, this sounds off like a knockoff Wheezy beat. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It literally sounds like a beat I've heard from Wheezy in like 2018 or something like that, 2017, that era, right? Quavo has no business being on a Busta album. This is what I'm talking about, mediocre albums, or mediocre artists, I should say. Quavo's still talking about shooters, trapping and gambling in the streets. I mean, that's his best Takeoff impression, you know? Anyway, I've done a video on Takeoff. You can watch that shit if you want to know my opinion on the whole Takeoff thing. Number 3, Beach Ball. Boring. Number 4, Okay. See, this is what I'm talking about. This literally sounds like a Hot ripoff, right? It's Young Thug. It's a direct copy of Hot, right? So which Weezy did. Weezy out of here, right? Now, why is Busta imitating a song that is like 6 years old at this point? That is not really no hip hop classic like that. It's a cool song. It was a decent song for its time, but it's not something that, like, I can't remember the last time I played Hot. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a song of its era that was actually a decent song of its era, but not no classic. It's not something really worth imitating 6 years later, right? But it is interesting to see. It's almost like, he's late. Busta's mad late on this one, respectfully, and Cool and Dre, who made the beat, are super late on this one. So that was trash. Could It Be You? As soon as this dude started talking about the bag, like the singer came in, you can have the bag, all this shit. It's like, this is generic garbage. Skip. Anytime I hear the word bag, I know I'm listening to someone broke, respectfully. And there's nothing wrong with being broke. A lot of us are broke. You know what I'm saying? These are hard times. But I have an issue with people who are broke and pretend like they're getting the bag or whatever and want to rhyme about the whatever. Like, it's goofy. You know what I'm saying? Like, who cares? Like, you broke. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with being poor, especially in these times. These are tough times. But when you try to make it seem like you've got the bag, and I know you're broke, and you're kind of almost like, it's like you're kind of dissing the audience, like, yo, I got the bag, you don't got the bag. And it's like, what is this? Like, anyway, new generation, they like that shit. But to me, it's like, just keep it real. Luxury Life, number 6. This is the best song so far, mostly because, the beat, obviously, it's a played out beat, but the funk will always hit. I mean, Coi Leray raps, she has no story other than her father hates on her, which is boring. She doesn't say that in this particular song, but, Coi Leray to me is like, again, someone I just don't listen to. I was surprised to see that Swizz made this beat. This beat is lazy as fuck. It's like when Busta asked for a beat, Swizz just gave him the Reasonable Doubt CD. That's how lazy this shit is. Moving on. Big Everything. This beat's trash. Song's trash. I couldn't even get through it. Number 8, Roboshata. This is a Pharrell beat. It's undercooked. As soon as Burna Boy started singing, I skipped it. I'm sorry. Burna is like my country guy. Shout out Nigeria. But that whole fake patois type, I don't know. It was just grating on the ears. I just had to skip. Tings. That's trash. Yawn. For real. The Return of Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa is, if I remember, the richest person from Timbuktu at the time. He was an emperor. Blood World. I mean, this stuff is very interesting to me, obviously, but so I liked the title, but I was like, oh shit, Return of Mansa Musa, like, maybe he's gonna do something, maybe sample some music from Mali. No, it's just entitled, just a trash song. Moving on. Stand Up. As soon as I heard the Gangsta's Paradise, it's a Stevie Wonder record, really, but the Gangsta's Paradise, skip. I don't like Gangsta's Paradise. I never did. I always thought it was corny, even back then. Open Wide. You know what this is? Like, when you hear Open Wide, this is background club music, okay? This is when you get to the club early and there's no girls, except for the bartender setting up, and you feel miserable because you're early, you know what I'm saying? And you don't even really have a booth, and even if you got a booth, like, it's almost like, are the girls even gonna show up? That's what Open Wide is for. That's the soundtrack to that shit. So, no. Hold Up. This is trash, okay? Timbaland did this beat, which is terrible. This beat sounds like a guy imitating Timbaland, like someone who just got started making beats and was trying to imitate Timbaland. And it's like, and you know me, I love Timbaland. Like Timbaland is like top 2 for me. I love Timbaland. I always loved Timbaland's music because it was ahead of the curve. But this shit is so confusing. When I hear beats this bad, I'm just like, come on, Timbaland. Like, what's going on? The Hive with Gigs. This is like, I mean, it's a mediocre beat. It's undercooked. It's kind of slightly one of the better beats, but nah. Homage. Now it's a Wheezy. Like Wheezy actually showed up. So this is an actual Wheezy beat. Wheezy imitation and Wheezy himself is like no difference. That's how you know a producer that frankly it's not that great. And I say that with all due respect to Wheezy. Wheezy has like one, I like the hot beat, it was a good beat, but it wasn't nothing crazy. It kind of sounds like whatever was out at the time, just done a little bit better, but that's that one beat. Everything else just sounds like some imitation shit. So that was not good. The Legend. Now, this one was kind of undercooked as usual. It could have been decent, but whatever. And then Slide, DJ Ted Smooth. You know, this could have been cool, but it was one of the more creative songs on the album, but there's just too much going on. Okay? There's too much going on. It's just not put together well enough for me. And, yeah. And then we've got, speaking of Pete Rock that I was just playing, we've got Legacy, which is mediocre, stiff. Sounds like some Pete Rock shit, but just mediocre and stiff, right? And then we get to the last song, If You Don't Know, Now You Know Part 2. And there's a reason I'm playing this instrumental, because if you're a hip hop dude, to me, right away, you should have heard this. This song, shout out to Sadat X. I'm gonna play this so that you guys know what I'm talking about. Because essentially, this was between Big Tigger and Busta. It literally sounds like The Interview. Regina Hall. This was classic, actually. Real dope record. Beat mod is. So Regina Hall is basically like Big Tigger is doing that part. X, you know. What's in your plans? And then Sadat starts rapping. In this case, it's Busta Rhymes. So, anyways, you get the idea, right? Dope song. If you've never heard it, listen to it. So, again, you know, this was a sleepy release. This was trash. No culture was shifted doing this, and it's funny because in the in the actual song, he was like, "Yo, you know, we trying to shift culture with Blockbuster." What? You know, when you get older, you get more introspective. I've certainly gotten more introspective as time goes on because you see the patterns of things if you're paying attention, right? So where's the wisdom? And I'm talking about in terms of the beat selection, the overall vibe, even what Busta's saying. Like Busta to me sounded wiser 30 years ago than he does on this, which is crazy, right? Anyway, this was trash. I don't know what else to say about it. I don't want to keep harping on how bad it was. It just wasn't a release that I'll ever go back to. I think this is one of the worst albums I've heard from Busta. I didn't expect it to be good anyway, but yeah, this was definitely just a complete waste of a listen, respectfully. The last Busta Rhymes record that I kind of liked, I think I talked about this in the ELE2 review when he did the extended version, Follow the Wave. This was okay, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, Busta Rhymes is a legend. She was alright. I mean, this song is not gonna light up the mainstream. It's not even gonna light up me as a hip-hop listener, but it's not trash, right? It's actually a decent listen, whereas like the rest of all that was just like didn't make it through a lot of the songs, actually. So there you have it, Trash Busta. You know, hip hop has turned 50. Surprise! Happy birthday! Oh man. Anyway, this is end of year. It's coming up, man. It's dismal, yo. I mean, it's almost December. You know, no new music comes out in December, so wow. Yeah. Wow, indeed. Peace.